Hi and welcome to my wee channel, The Wandering Kilt. Today's video is a 2 for the price of 1 deal. A boat trip to Leven Castle sitting in the middle of Loch and Kinross, a cute wee market town not far from Perth. Before we get started, if you like these videos, could you help me by subscribing if you haven't already, that is. Share it with your friends, and if you're feeling generous, you could buy me a coffee or give me a super thanks. Right, so Loch Leven is a freshwater loch next to Kinross, about 3.5 miles in length with an average depth of about 14 feet. There isn't much chance of a monster in these depths, although there could be some pretty large pike lurking around. It was a cracking day, so I thought, let's take the boat out to Loch Leven Castle. I purchased a membership for Historic Scotland. The boat trip is around 11 quid, but if you have a membership card it's free. The skipper of the boat, Jim, explained about the location, the loch and other stories. I'm sure it only took about 10 minutes to reach the island, and I had the boat more or less to myself. So take a picnic, as you can spend a good couple of hours walking around the castle ruins. The castle, possibly built around 1257, figured in the Wars of the Scottish Independence, and it belonged to the Douglas family for the next 300 years. So, to Mary Queen of Scots, she was held captive here for nearly a year until 1568, being forced to abdicate as queen. She escaped with help from her jailer, but to be fair, it wasn't really Alcatraz or San Quentin. She had visited here in 1562 to recover from a fall while horse riding from Falkland Palace, and later she met the reformer John Knox in 1563. While imprisoned, she miscarried twins, possibly fathered by the Earl of Bothwell, and she had attempted a few times to escape, a bit like Colditz, until she was successful, fleeing to Niddrie Castle in Winchborough, which is now in the middle of a golf course. The castle fell into disrepair, but it has now been tidied up, and it was given to the country in 1939 and is both managed and, more importantly, protected by Historic Environment Scotland. So as I say, book a time, as it can be pretty busy during the holidays. Take a picnic and soak in, hopefully, the sun, like me, and the history. So what about the hurricanes, I hear you ask? I was going to get to that. 2 Hawker hurricanes were reported to have crashed in Loch Leven in 1943. The first one on the 7th of March and the second on the 16th of April. One of the pilots, Sub-Lieutenant Winston Vernon Stark of the Royal New Zealand Volunteer Reserve, who was stationed at HMS Jackdaw of the Fleet Air Arm, was possibly practising low-level flying or indeed carrier landings. Well, he was killed and he's been buried quite close by. HMS Jackdaw later became Crail Airfield. So what you say, a couple of old planes wrecked in the Loch. Well, one may be linked to the Battle of Britain. The big error in our perception of the Battle of Britain is that the Spitfire won it for us. In fact, the Hurricanes shot down more German planes during the Battle of Britain than the Spitfire, although by 1940 the Hurricane was showing its age. Still, an interesting piece of history resting in no more than probably 44 feet of Scottish Loch. I'll shut up now and let you watch a bit of the footage of Leven Castle, and I'll start talking again when we get to Kinross, okay? See you in a bit. Hi, that's me back. Don't panic. But we're up to Kinross now. So, Kinross dates back to the 5th century, and the town has always been part of the so-called Great North Road from North Queensferry to Perth. By the 18th and 19th centuries, Kinross became a centre for weaving and agriculture, and in particular, linen production was popular here. The coming of the railways helped bring more prosperity to the area. But as we reached the 1970s, the railway station closed, although that was offset by the improvements in the road network. Well, that's the M90, of course. As usual, is there anything interesting ever happened here? Well, in the town centre, a church was built in 1742, but the general consensus was that because it lacked a steeple, it wasn't really a proper church. So a committee was formed, the cash was raised, the steeple was built, and guess what? They moved the church, leaving the steeple behind. Typical. Kinross House was built in 1585 to 1590 and is one of the most beautiful houses in Scotland. Now a hotel spa. I thought about staying there, but seemingly it's not only 20 grand per night, but there is a minimum stay of 3 nights. That's probably the most scary thing in Kinross, the bill, but maybe not. As we have Grey Maggie. For over 300 years, Grey Maggie is said to be the wife of Sir John Balfour. The Grey Lady, or Grey Maggie, is said to walk the grounds of the castle, situated at Milnathort, which is just along from Kinross. Kinross itself didn't escape the dreaded witchcraft trials that plagued Scotland in the mid-1600s. 4 women from the area were supposed to be involved, although details are sketchy at best. Once again, I'll keep quiet and I'll catch you at the end of the video. Well, that was Loch Leven and Kinross on a beautiful day. I thought about splitting it into two videos, but hey, they're next door to each other, and if you visit one, you've just got to visit the other one, don't you? Kinross is still a nice wee market town, well worth a visit. You can get a great walk or even a cycle around Loch Leven itself, which is great for the kids, but limited parking, so it may be busy at weekends. So get along there and enjoy it. As I look at the big clock on the wall, I see that once again time has beaten us, so until next time, bye for now.